do a splitter on top that's going to feed off of it and put an elevator there. Okay, now run that to there. Terry ingot. So once we build these in, make sure it's not, okay, barely not clipping, I'll take it. Okay, so that is resuming that feed there. And now, hopefully, I've given myself enough space wrap around this power pole. And allow it for the Caterium to go this way as well. There we go. Now we're going to just need to bring it right up the side here. And then I can do a riser, potentially, to then come in and go down here. Now the question is going to be if I can do it cleanly. So when I do it this way, it's to try to get it so when there's a snap, normally the riser, that's the lowest level it'll do, but if it can actually snap here, you see how it just kind of shrunk it in, and it kind of glitches it in, and that makes it still look nice and clean and keeps it underneath the catwalk level. So perfect. It's like I planned it all along. Okay. Oh, and that rock is going to be a pain in my butt, isn't it? So I'm going to have to do a little bit of a height riser, quick height riser here. Over that rock. So it's going to be a one-click rise. Now it's not as important because I'm not building on foundation to begin with. So that one-click rise isn't going to be consistent anyway. That's one of the things that I did learn that I'm going to want to do when I build a fresh new base is to make sure that everything is on a foundation. So then you can kind of, and make sure that foundation is world snapped. Which I'll show you what that means later. Ooh, that went right through the middle of that conveyor belt. So it'll let you do it. It's just going to look ugly as sin, and I want this to look legit. So there are certain clippings where I'm okay with it if it's just like barely part of, clipping part of the corner of a structure or corner of a belt, as long as it doesn't make it look like the materials are flowing through it. There we have that. Now this should be running. So we're going to look down and we're going to see, oh, got to hook it up to power, don't I? Power would help. Okay, so I took out these power poles and it's off to the side here. So I'm going to put a power pole here. And then what I can do is I can separate and connect. That keeps that nice and clean, and now this should be running. Yep, we got green pole there, and you can see the machines are all working down there and starting to churn and popping it out there, and it's going right into the feed. So hooray, we've got that done. I can get rid of this power pole here. And we're solid. So now that's churning and feeding into the system. So that's increasing my output. So now I'm going to do this to allow this to keep from draining completely. It'll start to eventually fill back up once I get my supply up. Right, and you can see actually as it's going, it's still popping 1 or 2 every now and then, but the majority of it's going out to the other direction. So start to fill back up and start to be in good shape, and especially as I start to stack it. So now that I have this all built out and I know how that's going to go, I can go over to the blueprint builder and make this as a standalone box. My blueprint builder is over by my power supply, so I'm going to go over there and build it there. There's my blueprint builder bar. Whoops, fell a little bit further than I thought when I ran out of gas. All right. So, first thing we need to do is need to build that foundation. So I'm going to build it actually instead of on a foundation like this, although I should do it on the glass. Actually, no. I'm not going to build it on a foundation at all because if I'm stacking, that's going to add extra unnecessary height. Correct. Yes. Okay. Figuring it out myself. All right. So we're going to do production. We're going to do constructor. Okay, remember, we're doing the input on this side, so we're going to put it there. Okay. And now we're going to build the walls. Actually, I'm going to make it to the regular snap, and then I'll build. So I'm going to do this first, and then I'll build the constructor within that barrier. And I'm going to do this, but it's going to be over 1. He was over 2, if I remember correctly. Architecture, small concrete pillar. Small concrete pillar, wall. I think that was the right size. I might be off by 1. The small concrete pillar might need, or the wall might need to move over by 1. Okay, production, and it's going to be input there. Okay, so that is aligned. Yeah, that is way too wide, so I'm off by 1. So it is supposed to be over 1 overlap, not 2. Doesn't look right, it probably isn't. So I believe that wall should be there. Means I need to move this whole thing over 1. So it's actually going to be over even more. To keep that balanced, because that's off by 1 click. Here's where I'll find out if I'm off by even more. Before I even put those extra walls in, we're going to try the constructor again, see if we got it right. Okay, So that's aligned. Do we have clearance here? Yes. And yes. We're going to do our wall overlap. I think if I remember correctly, I ended up doing this with a half step. So it was a 4-click overlap. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and then we had conveyor wall on this side. And then we did our small concrete pillar on each corner. Okay, and then we had the single wall riser, and then the center door on top. And we had, I am going to switch this up a little bit and just to keep it consistent around. I'm going to do single wall the whole way around. And then the 4-meter wall on top of that. Just do the small concrete pillar double stack on each of the 4 corners for consistency. Going to do last frame foundation. Oh, I flipped it again. This did overlap the beams properly, so that's good. And we're going to go to our logistics conveyor belt on the inside of the structure. Should be aligned, right? Okay, so it looks like I'm going to need to move the constructor 1 click back. I guess I just did it a little bit too close. Okay. There we go. Now let's go inside and apply the power. Might need to even be closer. I might be off still. So I'm going to just delete that because that should allow me to get in here okay, and it didn't. So it needs to be one more click back. On. Still not letting me in without that. That's not good. That's what we're going to do. We're going to adjust it this way. See, that's much better. Now it's allowing me in the right way, and I can just walk out. So that's good. Now we got it. And now we're going to put our power line connector here. Double wall mark 2. Rotate that so that's top up. And put it right in the middle there for symmetry. There we go. And I'm not going to worry about that because I can use this for this build for a lot of other things too, so I don't want to preset it to any particular item. And there we have it. Now another thing I might do here, honestly, is put in a couple display panels that then I can program to show the input and the output so that you can kind of use that for logistics. Organization, here we go. I am going to need some crystal quartz to do this, or quartz crystal. I don't think I have that feeding in here. I don't, so that's another one that I'm going to need to do a riser for with the Mercer Sphere. So we'll be right back with that one. We'll go and get that material. Past all of my fuel generators here that are just churning away. Giving me power upon power. I just realized that my video location was actually over my milestone markers, so didn't want to have that. Okay. So let's see, where do I have my crystal quartz feed coming in? I think, well, I can see where it's coming up here. So I'm going to jump into this tube and go to my upper base. There it is. So this is processing into the crystal quartz containers. This is what I need versus the raw material before it's processed, which is just raw quartz, right? That's going into here to process and then into this bin. And this bin is full because it's not letting anything else in. So we're going to be building a dimensional depot here. Helps if I'm building it on the right side, which I didn't. we go. Now it's starting to add it. So it's eventually going to get up to 600. So that's good. So I won't have to go back to get crystal quartz anymore. So we'll just let that one go. I'll take one stack with me just for this, so I don't have to wait too long. Although I don't think I need that much. This is going to get this constructor processing that faster. What else do I need for that? If there's any other materials before I get all the way back over there and find out I need something else. Looks like everything else that I need is basically just either steel plate or reinforced steel plate, or iron plate rather. So I think I'm good. So now I can sign to my heart's content. Whee! Disney Alley. Hey there, Disney Alley. How are you? Thanks for dropping in. And thanks for saying something in the chat. Hi. Hopefully you're having a good day. Oh, and thank you for the follow. Hooray. That is fantastic. Really appreciate you. I'd love to see what interests you. Have you played Satisfactory and you're just getting your fix in? I know for me, I'm very addicted to this game. Or you're just kind of just checking it out and you haven't played it and you're interested about what it is. A 2 meter by 1 meter. That'll actually work out real nice if I do that there. Or do I want to do something off to the side here? Like a 2 by 2. I don't know what I think about that. I think if it was more on center on the port hole there, then maybe. And this is going to get blocked by the. It's going to get blocked by the catwalk when we add that on later. So if I do it this way, I think that'll be fine. I don't know if it's going to allow me to have the text already preset, but I'm going to say input, and then we can just have it be whatever the part is. For this case, it's going to be input is going to be Caterium wire or quick wire. All right, so it would look like that. And how bright it goes. I don't know if I want the glossy. I think I'm going to keep it to the matte. Emission strength is, I think, backlight. Yep. Okay. Background is fine. And then this is just the colors. So the frame or bezel, the background, and then the font color. So I'm going to make the font color my, it's going to adjust it, but my CC 1024, we're just going to adjust it to 1021. It's just what it does. I'm going to make the bezel. I want to do that, or I want to do something more like a silver gloss. CO. Let's see what 78 hex does. Stick with that one. I like that. let's do that. Okay. And we're going to move it over here and do the same thing. I'm just going to go copy the settings and paste the settings over. Rather than going and manually entering them in again. And then in this case, it's going to be output. You're going to have to change a different icon anyway, depending on what you're doing. So might as well have these as the default, since that's what I'm going to be doing anyway. And it's actually the wrong one anyway, because it's quick wire is what the output is. That's what we're making, not the input. I forgot about that. So we're going to leave it there. And I'm going to go over to here and do Caterium as the input. Caterium ingot. There we go, just because that kind of washes that out with that backlight. And I might actually, that might mean I might drop my emissions down anyway. Just to make that color a little bit better, but it's still kind of washed out just because the backlight. If I turn the emissions off completely though, I don't know what that's going to do. Just makes it very faded out. I mean, you can see what it is then, but I kind of want that emission strength up a little bit. Okay. Is there anything else that I need to do here? I don't think so. So I think we're good. So now I'm going to go ahead and save the blueprint. And this is going to be a stackable constructor with signage over inputs. Outputs will require external catwalks to door and to external ports. And building is, oh, that's a hub. Where's my constructor? It's smelter, constructor. Okay. And select my color. Go. Blueprint saved. Your blueprint designer. So now I have all of that back in my inventory, or maybe it puts it into the crate here, puts it into the crate. Okay. So now that's done, that clears that out, and now I can go back and we're going to see if this actually works and drop it in. See how well it stacks. Now, the downside or the challenge might be, and I might need to make an adjustment of this as I build it, is I might need to take down the previous one I did that was kind of the proof of concept, and then throw this on top, throw this down, because otherwise it might be slightly off by one. But we're going to see how this works. But now what this will help me with is I can actually start to clean up as I build new structures, and everything will be instantaneously stackable. Now I can just go to blueprints, constructor, stackable. I'm going to go here. That builds all of that for me. It's aligned on that side. It's aligned on that side. It does have that one little bit off here because of the way I designed it, where I made a couple changes at the end there. But other than that, it all lines up and it's got my inputs and outputs properly there. So in order to get it consistent, I'm actually going to disconnect for a moment. And disconnect on this side as well. And I'm just going to tear this all down for this lower level and rebuild it using the blueprint. And do them both. It doesn't hurt to do it the right way, and then I have it all consistent.